I'm Dave Friedland. I'm Director of Channel Development at MSI, and with me is John Elliott. You want to say hi, John?
Good morning, everyone.
John will be walking through a live demo of the system after we go through a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation. And what we want to walk through is what does winning look like when it comes to field service, and what are some objective third-party statistics that help to show what the top companies are doing, and maybe give you some ideas as to areas that you might want to focus in on as an organization as well. We're going to look at some of the technologies that are modernizing field service out there. We're going to go through a live demo and then answer any questions that you might have along the way. One slide about who we are. MSI is headquartered in Milwaukee, and this is what we do. We work in the area of field service software. We have decades of development experience here, and we really look at the whole field service world kind of soup to nuts, where we start with everything related to the call center and back office, scheduling, making sure you can manage inventory as part of the process, all the contracts and agreements that you might have specific to field service activities and inspections. And really the thing we're going to focus in on is the mobile applications that are being used today. And all of our software is available on-premise or hosted, so there's a lot of variety to that. As we get started here, I just want to get kind of level set as to when I talk about field service, at least what I'm referring to. And field service to us really applies to any business that has employees who work outside of the office to install or repair, or servicing or maintaining or inspecting equipment or other items sold or under contract to the company. So basically, if you've got people out in the field who are doing any of these activities, you probably have need for a field service software package of some kind. We work with companies in over 20 vertical markets, whether it's manufacturing or distribution, medical devices. So if there's a company out there, for example, that sells x-ray machines to hospitals or clinics, and they need to install that piece of equipment, they need to maintain it so it is, has preventative maintenance to it, but if it breaks down, they need to send somebody out to repair that. That's a perfect example of an organization that would use our kind of service. And so we work with companies, big and small, folks like Time Warner Cable, utilize the same kind of technology that we're going to be talking about here today. When it comes to the market for mobile field service software, Gartner's report from last year pegs that at about $1.2 billion per year in sales and growing at nearly 13%. So that means there's just a whole lot of companies out there who are investing in field service software. And about 3/4 of field service organizations plan to invest in mobile tools. So that's really where the investment is being focused at this time. It's the mobile technology that's been out there for everybody for a long time. We've all been walking around with our smartphones and iPads and so forth, but it's finally really getting into the field service area in a big way, and so that's where the investment is happening. And the good news about that is Sage is reporting that 85% of companies who utilize mobile technology are having a positive effect on their business. So that investment seems to be paying off for those companies. Another report that we look at is the Aberdeen report, and I'm going to go through a couple of the statistics that they have in their most recent report that indicate what the top companies in field service are doing. And I'm going to tie that into a quote, which is, "Always render more and better service than is expected of you, no matter what your task may be," by Og Mandino, who's the author of The Greatest Salesperson in the World. So when it comes to field service, I think we all want to render the best service we can. So as I mentioned, the number one area of investment for top field service organizations is in mobile technology. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, they want to eliminate paper and anything that they can provide electronically to their field service technicians is something that they can then track and report on at some point. So having all the work orders sent to the technicians' mobile devices, and we really think it's important that you have the capability to use a wide variety of mobile devices. So whether it's something on the iOS system or Android, so whether it's an iPad or an iPhone, an Android or Windows-based device, if you can have your technicians utilizing that technology, that's going to allow for a lot of efficiency. If you have all of your forms, getting rid of all those paper forms that you might have on a clipboard when somebody's out on a job, if you can turn those into electronic documents, then each one of those questions or elements of those forms becomes a piece of data that you can capture and report on. We also certainly think it's important to use this technology to capture photos and signatures so you can document the work that's been done. You can have verification of somebody approving that work, and that you can add time and parts and anything that you need to from the field, put right into the electronic device and have that zip back into your Sage 100 system or whatever your ERP system is, which allows for quicker invoicing, which means you get paid faster. The second major piece of technology is scheduling technicians with the right skills and the needed parts up front. So using, again, today's technology, using real-time GPS location to know where your technicians are, where your clients are, your customers, where everything is, so you can see it real time on a map and then use that information to be more efficient getting the right people to the job. But location's just one piece of that puzzle, and obviously you might have somebody very close to a customer, but if they don't have the right skills or the right parts with them, the visit that they make is a wasted trip because you're going to need to send somebody else out at some point to get the job done correctly. So you need to be able to filter your technicians by their skills. If you need a master electrician, you need to send that person out with the right skills. And you need to also be able to have access to real-time inventory so that if somebody is using up a part in the field, that part is shown as utilized within the system, and therefore you're not selling the same part twice, or you have don't have good visibility to what is going on with inventory. Now, utilizing the mobile technology that we just talked about and this kind of scheduling really helps your worker productivity. So what we're going to see is companies utilizing this information are the best in class, and therefore they have worker productivity increases of about 13% a year compared to the industry average of 5.4%. And companies that aren't doing any of this stuff are actually starting to fall behind with a decrease in worker productivity. So those are identified as laggards, something you don't want to be. Also, the companies that are extending this information that they gather from the back office and extending it out through mobile technology to the field are seeing higher revenue growth. So it is allowing not only more worker productivity, but more sales opportunities and more revenue growth. The other thing that it allows you to do is to have a higher first-time resolution rate, because if you're making sure that you're sending the right people out there, that they've got all the information that they need at their fingertips, their ability to complete the job correctly is increased. And so the best-in-class companies are seeing an 88% first-time fix rate compared to 80% for the industry average and 63% for the laggard firms. So that actually has a big impact on your bottom line there. The third and final thing that we wanted to talk about before getting into the demo has to do with capturing and using business data. And this is where we're seeing a huge opportunity for companies, because even the best in class at this point are only doing that a little more than 50% of the time, where the industry average is about 32% and the laggards are down around 16%. And so when we're talking about using essential business data, where you really have to start is by identifying what's important for your business. So what are those key metrics that you want to have at your fingertips at any moment of the day? So it might be things like resolved or unresolved service calls. You know, are you getting things done right on the first call, or do you need to follow up? What is the year-to-date sales or sales history by customer? Do you have contracts that are expiring? Or do you have orders that are awaiting parts? So all of this information, which can be captured electronically out in the field, is then something that you can report on. And so once you've identified those key things that are essential for your business, you need to be able to jump into your system every day and see exactly where those things are so you can manage to them. So if the RMAs by technician are what's key to you, you need to be able to come in and see this kind of data at your fingertips. If you want to know what the open calls are, for example, that may prompt you to follow up with somebody and get further information on why a call is not closed or why there's so many open calls and so forth. So whatever this information is that is key to you, you need to be able to come into the system and access it. And within our system, we're all user-defined, so as you log in, if there's 5 things as service manager you want to see, those are the 5 things that you see, where your CFO may log in and see a completely different set of data if that's what's important for them to manage to. So you want to be able to take all of this information and slice it and dice it and not make it difficult to sort through so you can use this. So, you know, open orders by technician. Here's Ray. He's got 14 orders. He's knocking it out of the park. Mary down here only has 2. That may be perfectly fine depending on the roles, but it may also be something that you need to evaluate. So those are really the 3 key areas of technology that are impacting field service today. And we like to think that companies use that information to increase their performance, and we call it through the power of 1. And it's really looking at where are those incremental steps you can take within several parts of your company to improve your performance. And so it's what if you could eliminate 1 follow-up call per day because you had the right information at your fingertips? Or you could schedule your technicians to make 1 extra customer visit, get 1 more job completed right the first time each day or each week, and eliminate 1 more unnecessary paper stream. And the end result of all of that, of course, is to try to make 1 more customer happy each day because you rendered more and better service than was expected of you. And so with that background is some of the data that is current and impacting field service organizations. I'm going to turn things over to John Elliott, and he's going to walk through a live demo of our system, really covering the things that we discussed here. So pass that over to John. John, take it away.
Thank you, Dave. Good morning again, everyone. And we're going to start out just here real quickly with a little background on what we're going to go through today. And really, we're going to start out with a Service Pro mobile demonstration, and we're going to talk a little bit about the back office. And I'm going to walk through a little bit of what we call our portal application here, along with the details behind it, why it adds such great business value as Dave had indicated. In addition to that, then we'll do a standard break-fix scenario with a generator at one of our medical facilities that's in our system, and we'll walk through that, and eventually we'll work our way over to scheduling the tech to actually do the work for the issues with the generator. Then we'll move our way from, once we've scheduled it, we'll actually look at that particular work order on a mobile device to show you how all the capabilities on the mobile device work, so that you get a sense of all the work as it flows from the back office through scheduling through mobile. And as part of that, then we'll also have just kind of a little, at the end, we'll recap with some alerts and workflow discussion as well. So without much further ado to that, I wanted to walk into the portals. And the portals here are just collections of different widgets of information. And we think of a portal and our portal applications really providing several different perspectives. The first perspective that they provide is detailed business analytics. It's our ability to get the information out of the system that people are using every day to get the work done for management, supervisors to use in order to ensure that the business is done efficiently, effectively, and in a timely manner. So, and with the highest quality possible for all of our clients. Each one of these data blocks, if you will, if I pick up and remove them, can be moved around. I have the ability to have this be configured to my personal look and feel. We have lots of different, what we call these little widgets that come out of the box, and we can use them in multiple different ways. We can use them from a high-level perspective, or we can drill down into a tech and see exactly how Ray is doing with his work. And we can see he's getting some work done, but he's not completing enough in a timely fashion. Maybe we're overscheduling him, or he's just running behind schedule. We have the ability to look at order statuses in pie chart form as well and get information based on 30-day looks or 90-day looks, so we can get detailed information. The ability to look at tabular data so that we can see information as it's actually happening. How many work orders do we have today, how many open, and how many may be closed. The additional orders that other techs are working on and what their workloads look like. So we can see, are we balancing workloads properly? Do we need to have more balance? Is Sue working maybe on something that is a multi-day project and not a single? Well, John's out working on projects he can get done in multiple projects he can get done in a day. You know, we have the same and detailed information for calls, so we can look at call data, so we can see how we're handling our calls, are we handling them efficiently, effectively, and in a timely manner. Again, similar type of information with tabular data, pie chart information, and horizontal bar chart information. We also support information on contracts, so we can see how contracts, whether they're active, closed, or obsolete. You know, what's the contract price versus the contract expenses, and how are we doing overall on our contracts. So we have contracts when we bring them back for renewal the next time that we need to modify because we're not making our revenue and cost and margin targets. So lots of analytical data that's available. In addition to that, the portals can also be used to get reference information if you have clients and or employees, whether they be employees in the field or employees in the office that you want to have video access to so they can review pieces of equipment, learn more about them. We have a video widget. We have the ability to look at documents in different manners, whether they be drawings of sites and things of that nature, so connection drawings. We provide that capability as well. We have the ability to retrieve documents. So if I need to look at a manual for a piece of equipment I have out in the field, I can actually download the manual and look for specific information, maybe related to installation or related to break fix, so that I can fix it quickly and efficiently. So I have all the information that I might need at my fingertips. So just a lot of capabilities on a reference perspective. For those folks that have employees working out in the field, we have a weather widget available for them as well. And then we have capabilities for people to enter their own call information, whether they be employees in the fields or your clients. You can provide access to your clients by their username and login and role as to the type of detail of information that they can see at their fingertips. They could enter call information directly. Your employees out in the field could enter call information directly. So just a lot of capabilities in the portal. So really the portals provide two overall perspectives. One is business analytics, which we've talked about a little bit, and library information of reference materials, whether they be drawings, documents, videos, and access into lots of other information. So that's to give you an overall perspective on our capabilities for the portals, as we like to call them. The other thing I'd like to do today is take you through a simple break-fix scenario, as I mentioned before. We're going to actually take a call from Pam Rich over at Saratoga Medical Hospital. It's one of our medical clients that we're servicing equipment at. As I go through this, just keep in mind and keep in perspective that each of your clients has different needs, has different equipment, and we can track all that for them. So just think about your clients, think of how the application may work for you. In the case of Pam, we could look up by a piece of equipment if we knew the serial number of that piece of equipment. We could search by her name. We could search by her company number. We have lots of different ways of searching, and we're just going to search by her name today. So we're going to look for Pam. Rich is her name. And we're going to look through and find all the different people with Rich in it, and then we're going to click on it, select Pam, and we'll click OK. And the first thing we note here is that we have a credit limit issue with Saratoga Medical Hospital, and we can have a very proactive conversation with her about the fact that they are over their credit limit. This needs to get brought back into order so that we can continue to do business together. Assuming that we're still going to work with her today, we would then move on and we would have the ability to see what her customer number is. We pre-populate all the information around her customer name, her site address, all good stuff that's out here. If we had a customer who had multiple locations across the country, across the region that we're servicing, we would also be able to have the bill-to address as the customer number and then different work site numbers. So she may, for example, have Saratoga Medical Hospital in North Chicago, one in East Chicago, one in West Chicago, and one in South Chicago, and we could have different reference sites for each one of those locations so that we know exactly where we need to get our work done. We have the ability to track call type information so that we can get detailed analytics on the types of calls we're taking from our clients. In addition to that, from this perspective, I can actually look at site information and see details about how I may get to a site, things that are important at a site, like asking the receptionist, Pam, when I arrive on site, where the equipment would be located and what kind of coverings I should have for my shoes when I arrive on site. All kinds of very valuable information that I'll have at my fingertips. We also provide quoting capabilities and additional site details. Additional site details might be things like passwords that are needed for systems, things of that nature. If during the call process we have the need to reassign this call to someone more technical, we can reassign this call through this area here in the lower part of the call. And then finally, if we need to have a follow-up call with Pam, Rich, we can actually set up a return call. If we want to look at the pieces of equipment that's on her site, we can look at her full list of equipment, and we can see all kinds of things. We've got motors, we've got generators, we've got SCBA, Firehawk air masks, we've got X-ray flow equipment, we've all got all kinds of things. But the issue she has today is with her CAT generator. So we're going to click on the CAT generator, and that's going to be the piece of equipment we'll focus on today. And the first thing we note here is that we've got a red expired field that came up. If I click on the down arrows here, I can see that I used to have this under a contract. That contract expired on March 31st of 2014, and so now I have a good opportunity to have a conversation with Pam of maybe getting this generator back under a PM contract. This is a PM only type contract. There could be inspection contracts, or there can be contracts of all types. Contracts can cover things from parts and labors to time and material to depot services, loaners, all kinds of information. In addition to the actual equipment we cover, you can also set up your contracts to handle the PM work. You can set them up to handle call center, response time, and charging events, things of that nature. So all kinds of abilities in the contracts side of it. In our scenario here today, Pam is telling me over the phone that her generator failed, transfer switch failed on test. Very important scenario is that make sure it works every time we do a test. So we can try to walk through with it with one of our technicians. If our technician's unable to help her get it resolved over the phone, which is more than likely in this kind of scenario, we just would save this information. We would then go to a work order tab, click on the work order tab, click on our speed button in the lower right-hand corner, and we would now create a work order to get someone dispatched out there to actually take a look at a transfer switch on our generator to see what's going on. In order to actually create the work order, I've done that. Now I could actually add things at this level with respect to, I could identify a tech, I could identify inventory I'm taking with me, I could identify miscellaneous tasks like chip charges and things of that nature all could be added here. I'm not going to do that for the purpose of this discussion today because we want to be able to show you how we're able to do that all on the mobile device. So I've quickly entered a call. I can quickly create that call into a work order, and I can quickly from here actually send this over to the schedule board, and we've dispatched this order to the schedule on the sign pool, and we'll take a quick look at that as well. So this is the schedule board as it comes up, and there are really four major components to the schedule board. There's a lower right-hand corner here, a map of the continental U.S. In the top part of it, we have a Gantt chart with a fair number of names over on the left-hand side, and the Gantt charts are all in multicolors. All those colors are represented by the statuses that show up in the legend down on the lower left-hand side here. The statuses are the work that the statuses that we're receiving from our techs out in the field. They are the ones that are telling us that they've accepted a work order, they've arrived on site, they've put the work order on hold, they have a conflict because maybe a previous work order is taking longer than they expected, so they want to get the message out that we want to reschedule work. They've also indicated maybe that we need parts, or they've closed the work order because they've completed it. So all those color codes here can be set up by the user. The actual nomenclature of the statuses are definable by each firm. Each firm can have their own. One firm may use what we have here for new, accepted, and arrived as an example. Another business may say that doesn't really fit how we do things, and we would like to see new, in transit, and arrived, and all that is possible to do. A lot of flexibility within the system. To actually get a better sense of the work that I need to schedule, we can see several things on the continental map here in the lower right-hand corner. We have green buildings and red buildings. A red building is just an indicator of work I haven't scheduled yet, and I'm trying to see if I can get in there a little bit. Then we also have green buildings, and green buildings indicate we actually have a work order that we've assigned to a particular tech or a particular tech firm, services firm, if we use a third party to help us from time to time. In addition to that, on the map, we have blue balloons, and these blue balloons indicate to us where the techs are, and we can tell from their GPS on their mobile device exactly where they're located or how far they are from certain work. In order to get a better sense of work that may be going on, we can actually click on a work order, and it would drill down into that particular area. We could see on the map exactly where this facility is located. Then I could start to back out, and over several different locations, see any other work that needs to be done. I could continue to back out, and then I could be able to see other people that might actually be able to come into this area and help me resolve and get these work orders solved. So I can use the map and its functionality to help me identify technicians in the area that I may want to assign to work. In addition to that, the board itself has a skill filter capability up in the upper left-hand corner, where I can actually look through different types of folks with skills, and I can filter on their skill set. And for here, for example, I've looked at some mechanical folks, and if I would like to schedule some work that we've done today for Saratoga Medical Hospital, we would just pick up that particular work order and drop it on the board, and we'll schedule this work for John. And you can see very quickly that we've actually scheduled John here for Saratoga Medical Hospital. There are other ways to do filtering as well. We have the ability to do group filtering. We could have a group of North folks that maybe are regionally based. We may have team folks, things of that nature. We have the ability to edit work orders once we put them on the board. We can unassign them to reassign them to someone else. We could add another tech to this work order if we needed to. So we have lots of capabilities on work orders so that we can get the right set of people out to work on the work that needs to be done on behalf of our clients. We also have the ability to change the layout of the board. I won't spend a lot of time on it, but for example, I've got 24 one-hour slots up here on the board. I could actually set this up for 7 one-day slots, so I could look at a week. I could also set this up for 30, 31 days as well of a 24-hour period, so I could get a month perspective. So we just have lots of capabilities for doing filtering and different ways to look at our schedule board so that we can schedule the folks when we need them, where we need them, and for the durations that we need them as well. I'm going to just clear my skill filter here just for a minute because I also want to talk to the fact that, you know, we're doing multi-day scheduling. If you're in one view and you want to know if this is a multi-day event, you can quickly see it by the little arrow that's here at the end. So that is a indicator to us that the work started the prior day, and there are similar little arrows at the other end to indicate that it goes on for more days. So we could look at a different view and get a very good idea of how many days this particular work order is taking to complete. So we get a lot of visual clues from our schedule board as to what the work is, who we can assign to it, a lot of flexibility and capability. We can use the map, we can use skill filters, we can use group filters in order to schedule the right people at the right time. So now that we've actually scheduled a tech to actually go out and do the work in the field, what we'd like to see is how that tech is actually going to execute his work in the field on his mobile device. And I'll be bringing up a mobile device. It's a Windows, excuse me, it's not a Windows device. It is a iPad today. And just give me one moment as I kind of refresh my screen here in order to bring that up. And now you can see from here the actual iPad that I'm using, and I'm going to actually change a couple settings here real quickly. And we can see the work that I'm going to be doing for Saratoga Medical Hospital. So I've got several icons here on iPad on Service Pro Mobile. Service Pro Mobile actually just makes things very simple. I have the ability to have alerts generated to me from the back office. The back office may tell me things like a part has come in for a work order that I previously had that we want to actually begin working on now that that part is in. I might get a message from the back office telling me that we had a rain in the area today, so I know what weather is going to be. It's particularly of use if we know that we're going to have a significant weather event like a snowstorm and or a thunderstorm roll through the area. Order-wise, we have all of our orders listed here. Here's our one for Saratoga Medical Hospital. To actually begin my work, I would click on the work order, and from here I start to get information as to what's actually going on. The first thing I can see is that I've got a failed transfer switch on test. So I'd like to know kind of what was the device that actually had that problem. I can then click on the little asset icon at the bottom here, and I can see that it's a generator. So that I know that it's a generator. I can also see that if I had a SLA for it, I can see the serial number of it. If there are multiple serials or multiple units on site, I can see which serial number I'm going to be fixing. And I can also tell if it was under warranty and if I would be doing warranty work today. So I've got two pieces of very important information at my fingertips already. I can also look at history in the past and see what other work I've done out here in the field prior. So Joe's calling to say generate won't power on, so I know that they've had folks out there in the past to actually look at this particular generator as well. Also here in the relative recent past. So that's good information for me to have. So also with that, at this point in time, and knowing the fact that I've got a problem with transfer switch, knowing that it's the generator, cat generator that's got this problem, and looking at the history, one of the things I'm going to want to do is accept this work order so I can tell my dispatch person that I've actually accepted it. I haven't arrived on site yet, but at least they know that I've accepted it and I'll be headed that way shortly. With the fact that we know who all the information related to the order, one of the things I can quickly do is click on the address here and I can see the mapping function come up. And the mapping function can be used to tell me, how far away I am from where I'm currently located. And one of the things I can see is that I'm 19 minutes away. If I click on the little card there, I can actually get turn-by-turn navigation, and I can actually then look at it and say, okay, it looks like it's a pretty good route. It's 19 minutes away, and in this particular case, it'd probably be best if I tell my client I'll be there in 30 minutes. So I'll go back to my work order. I can then look up my contacts, and I see all the different contacts that I have. I'm going to call Pam back, and I'm just going to say to Pam, Pam, I understand you have a problem with your generator. I understand that it didn't transfer on switch. The transfer switch did transfer the unit on test. We want to make sure that we resolve that problem. I'll be there in about a half hour. So then I can actually go into the work order one more time, change my status to arrived, and then I can begin and head down the road. When I actually have arrived on site, I can then stop by Pam's office, have a conversation with her about what she thinks is going on, and then I can head down to my actual device. Once I'm in the generator, I can actually do several different things. I can add a task, and maybe it's a standard operating procedure for my company to always charge a trip charge, so I add a trip charge to this particular work order. And I could also make special notes that stopped momentarily along the way. And then I can save that task. In addition to that, I can actually add parts that I might need in order to fix this switch. And we can look at all of our inventory that we have to see what I might need in order to fix it. And we may say, oh, it just needed a 1-inch bolt today. We'll select that part. And maybe actually I didn't need 1, but I needed 3. So I'm going to add 3 1-inch bolts to this particular work order. And then I have the ability to add my time in as well. So I may have said that I started today at 12:37 p.m. I'm actually going to took me 2 hours to actually get my work done. So I'll finish at 2:37 p.m. today and have done 2 hours of actual time. And if there are special comments I wanted to make about the time, I can do that as well. Well, I'm out here. Pam stopped by and said, hey, thanks for coming out and helping me resolve the situation, but can you do one other thing for me and inspect some of my other equipment while you're here? Because I was thinking about the conversation I had with you in the back office, and you indicated to me that our preventative maintenance contract had expired. Would you please do an inspection of everything that's here so that we can get a new quote on a preventative maintenance program to make sure we don't have these problems going forward? So I can do an inspection in the field with my mobile device. I'm just going to do a very quick sample inspection. And in our sample inspections, our customers are able to create their own forms, their own inspections, their own checklists, whatever the proper terminology that they have is for what they do. They can create their own questions and define their own answer sets, and their own answer sets can be all kinds of different things, and you'll see some of those examples as I work through it today. For example, a red field for us is a mandatory field, so we may say our area manager is Pam. And we may have a job location that is indoors today, and a job type that is, this is an evaluation at Pam's request. She wants me to look at all her equipment. Then I can look at different things to make sure things are working properly or not working properly. I can make comments, and I can actually have Siri help me with those comments. Everything looks good. And I can also take pictures. So I'll take a picture of my phone just to show our ability to capture images in the field. And we'll use that photo. In addition to that, then we also have checklists indicate that I've cleaned a condenser or an evaporator, checked the fans, checked the lighting, checked cleanliness. One of the other capabilities we have with our devices and our capabilities is that when we create an inspection form, there are times where we want a number answer, not a alphanumeric answer. When that happens, we know that we need to automatically pop the numeric keyboard. So maybe for this example of the number of shelves on a unit, we said there are 12. So lots of capabilities and lots of different things. But finally, just to conclude our inspection, what I wanted to do is go through this with Pam, talk to her about everything I found. I found some good things. I found some things that were a bit concerning. We talk about all those good things, and then I indicate to the date, and I ask her to sign off on the inspection report. So she's going to sign off. So we're able to take the signatures out in the field as well. So we've done several different things while we've been out in the field and at Saratoga Medical Hospital. We looked at all the information on the order and found out that we had a generator that wasn't transferring on test. We found that we'd been out there recently before 3 different times. We found out that it was about a 20-minute drive from where I am to where their location was. We were able to have a really good positive conversation with Pam about the fact that it would take me about a half hour to get there. Once I finally got there, we were able to add a trip charge on the mobile device. We were able to put my hours of effort in. We were able to add 3 bolts to actually fix this particular unit. And then I was able to do an inspection. And in the inspection, I was able to take a picture, and I was able to get Pam's signature that she agreed with the inspection. So we have a lot of really good information that we were able to track on our mobile device. So from here, the last step that I have is that now that is to change my status such that I'm going from arrived to actually closed. This actually tells the scheduler in the back office that I've completed my work. And here we go. And when I've done that, then this work order will be removed from my orders listing here in the middle. And now I can move on to my next work order, which may be Consolidated Chassis Management, Claire Robinson, or KP Kensington. So a few other things just to comment on as we walk through all these different scenarios that we have is a lot of times we need to know information as it's actually happening out in the field. So things that are happening in the field are important to us, they're important to our clients as well, and we want to know about them at any given time. We can actually look at different work that we've done in the back office using our Alert Manager. And our Alert Manager, what it does is it looks at the database and says a status has changed for some particular reason, and what that status is, and I can email the information out then to the client. For example, the system knew that we actually took a work order and created a work order for Pam Rich at Saratoga Medical Hospital. It was reference number 3838 today. It also knows that we have a corresponding call that was set up that when she called in, so we were able to thank her for that and give her a reference number on our call as well. So we're able to have proactive messages be sent out to our clients. This technology can also be used to set proactive information to folks in the back office to let them know that work orders have been completed and that they could begin the billing and review process for billing and invoicing. There are many others. For example, we actually get indications when work orders have been completed so that we can see the different samples of inspection reports that have been done along the way. So just a lot of different capability that's out here with our Alert Manager functionality, and it can be used, as I indicated, to message information to our clients. It can be used to message information internally of the things that have actually happened, but more importantly, it can also be used to identify things that maybe haven't happened as quickly as we expected them to. If we have an SLA for noon today and it's 11:30 and we still don't have confirmation from our tech that he's able to get out to that site by noon, we could then proactively have a message that says that the there's been no activity on this particular work order that was scheduled for noon today, and it's 11:30, and someone in the back office could call the tech and find out exactly what's going on, and will he make it out there or she make it out there on schedule. For example, here's our completed technician order for Saratoga Medical Hospital and our inspection report that came along with it. And we can see the phone picture that I took, and we can see all the information that I took along the way, and then we have Pam Rich's signature as well. And with that part of the demo, I would like to turn things back over to Dave.
Thanks, John. Wonderful job walking through the system. And give me 1 second here. I'm just going to accept back from you. And one thing I think is important to note here, that the demo that John just walked through was a live demo. There was nothing canned or pre-done for that demo. So everything that you saw and how quickly he walked through the screens was real time. When you use GoToMeeting, the iPad, it cuts off the outer rim, so it doesn't exactly look like your typical iPad as it projects on the screen. That's just the way the image gets rendered. But that was John's iPad. That was an actual picture of his phone, and that's how quickly that the document, and is available back in the back office to review, to see the pictures, to have the signature, and to make sure that all that work's done. The other thing about the work that John showed is when you're utilizing the device and capturing all of that data as to the inspections and various other things like that, that's what then gets put into the system and can be used to create those kind of widgets and other pieces of data that are used to manage to the business. So all of those executive dashboard items. So that's the demo and walkthrough of some background data for today. I put my contact information up on the screen if anyone wants to grab that. But at this time, we'd like to open up the phone for questions. And if anybody has any questions for us, we'd love to be able to answer them.
Thank you, Dave and John, for that presentation. I do have a poll up, and I will show Dave's contact information in just a minute. Just wondered if the audience could take a moment to answer this poll. And Dave, we do have a question. What is the starting price, and how does pricing work with this solution?
Well, that's probably the one question we probably will defer to the individual job. Certainly, I'll give you this much. What we do is we charge on a per license basis, and we have a subscription model. So companies would identify the number of people that would be out in the field that would need specific licenses per individual, and then there will be people in the back office that will need those as well. The reason I'm going to be a little evasive with this question has to do with when we also showed the portals and all of the access that people get through that. That is not a per license basis. We offer that up as a company-wide item. So the fee for that is absolutely minimal when you look at what you can do through that. So not only have your customers access the portals, but all the people throughout the company being able to see those dashboard items, to have your technicians accessing manuals and videos and other pieces of key information for them. So what we really need to do is we're glad to talk pricing right away with anybody who is interested. We need to have that quick conversation as to how many people are out in the field, how many people are in the back office, will you be using the portals and so forth. And so on an individual basis, we will give you all the pricing information you need right away.
And Dave, we do have another question. Thank you, Bob, for your question. Could you compare this solution to Sage Mobile Services?
Yes, there's a whole host of differences there, and it's interesting. I was just down at the Sage Inspire conference in Chicago within the last week or so, and you know, the Sage people were interested when somebody asked them that same question. They actually brought up our company and said, how does this compare? And they said, if you're looking at a robust solution like Service Pro, we're kind of down here in Sage for your small-time users. If you're looking for something that has a lot more capability, then you're going to be needing something like Service Pro. And here's some of the big differences. Right now, we're available today across all different mobile devices. The portals and the dashboards are completely unique to us compared to Sage Mobile Service. Also, the ability to be real-time with inventory. We are completely integrated into Sage 100, so all of the customer information, the contact information, locations, and assets are real-time, but inventory is the other key thing. So right now, if you use a part out in the field, you want to make sure that that shows in Sage real-time, and you don't have to worry about syncing or trying to come back in at some other point. So we're kind of that full mobile solution. We also have all the GPS technology as far as being able to see on the maps where people are located and their real-time status. So there's just a really pretty huge difference between the two. We're really meant for enterprise-wide field service organizations.
And I do want to just remind the audience that we have a poll up. I see 38% of you have voted. If we could get more of you to vote, that would be great. That helps us in determining, you know, whether or not we should follow up with you via the phone or just send you our follow-up email. So if you could take a moment to answer that poll, that would be great. And Dave, how long does this solution usually take, or what's entailed in the implementation?
Well, implementation, really there's two key things there. It depends on, you know, how our system, I will say, is highly configurable. So there's a lot of the things that John walked through that are very easy to change as far as the terminology and the names and the filters and things like that. But it depends a little bit on if there's additional customization that's requested. We typically look at 90 to 120 days as a typical implementation. The other key factor has to do with the availability of resources at the customer site. We can work much more quickly if they have good resources available to them and have, you know, the IT folks dedicated to the project, and that often, you know, there's a lot of things that we have to do and then they have to do, and so if we're all in sync on that, the project can move more quickly.
A big part of it, I would imagine, is the Sage partner involved as well. You embrace the partner in the implementation there, since they're the ones that did the Sage 100 ERP install and the training and knows the company. You work really well, I hear, with the channel. Absolutely,
and that's a great point to bring up, Adrian, because we are shoulder to shoulder with the Sage channel and the partners that have sold the Sage ERP systems, and so it's really a team effort. We all work together on various specialties of each of our companies, and we love to work with all the VARs and the Sage channel, and that's really where our focus is. So we welcome all of those conversations as well.
So I don't see any more questions. I just invite the audience, if you did have any questions, please go ahead and either click on that button with the hand and I will unmute your line and we can speak live to you, or go ahead and click on that question mark button and indicate your question via text in the dialog box that comes up. If we have no more questions, I'm just going to hand it back over to Dave for any closing comments.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for sticking with us today and going through the presentation. We really appreciate it. If there's any further information that you would like from us, feel free to reach out, and we would love to talk to you. And I just want to wish everybody a great rest of your day.
Thank you, David. Thank you, John. Everybody have a great day. We appreciate you coming to see Service Pro in action. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.